Hi everyone, nubkeks here and welcome back to Nub Raids. Just want to give you some quick information about 3 champions that are getting some buffs in the upcoming patch. Alright, let's take a look. First up, believe it or not, Rotos. The Lost Groom is actually getting buffed. I just put my game back full screen. Rotos in the Undead Hordes, he's obviously incredibly good. He was a previous fusion. A beast in the arena, super powerful single target damage dealer. He can take extra turns, and his A1 plays decreased defense. His A2 decreases target's max HP and adds it to his own HP, and all of his damage scales very well off of HP. And then his A3 ignores target's defense, unkillable block damage buffs, and also gives him an extra turn if he kills an enemy. And then if he's gained the max HP he possibly can from his A2, if he maxes out his HP here, gives it blocked revive, which is kind of rare. And yeah, he also does this stuff as well where, you know, a single hit can't exceed 50% of his max HP, gives him an extra turn. If you do hit him that hard, he gets an extra turn. Decreased damage from bosses, even better if CP's there. And then he's got good base stats. Obviously his base HP is low, but he's super boosting it up himself by another 60k. He's a monster, absolute monster. What is getting changed for him? It's his Vitality Plunder. The HP steal is being changed. The change here is that it's now going to decrease the max HP of bosses by 30%. Okay, so against non-bosses, it decreases max HP by 20% and then adds it to him. Against bosses, it's going to decrease their HP by 30% of the damage, and then it just gives him a flat 15% max HP. So after 4 uses against bosses, he's going to be maxed out at the 60k. This is a theme across all of these. I strongly suspect, very strongly, that they're going to be adding in a Hydra head, one of the Hydra bosses, most likely a new head that is going to require reducing its max HP. Alternatively, this could be just good for the Scarab King. That could also be what it's good for. Because as it is right now, this does not decrease bosses' max HP. So, yeah, I mean, if this is against Scarab King, this is going to make him monstrously good against Scarab King. He's going to absolutely rip through it, smash through its shield very quickly with his nukes. He's never going to die, and all of that. So, interesting stuff happening there. Then we have Skull Lord Vargal is up next. So, this guy is, he's considered a bit more of a meme champion. He's in the Lizardman. He was, again, an old fusion. I think he looks pretty cool. He's a big old beefcake of a champion. And I think he has the best base stats in the entire game. Like 27,000 HP with decent attack and good defense. 107 speed. He's got 90 resist and 70 accuracy baseline. This guy is a monster. His A1 attacks 2 times. Each hit fills his turn meter by 5%. Fine. 30% chance to repeat this skill. And this can keep repeating over and over again, potentially. And it also puts heal reduction for 2 turns if the skill is repeated, damage based on defense. His A2 puts strengthen on himself and then provokes a single target, so pretty weak, though it does have a 2-turn cooldown. His A3 is an AoE attack. Right now it's a 5-turn cooldown, bucks down to 4. That places decrease attack, and that's where the change is coming in, or the first change is coming in. It's now going to be a 4-turn cooldown that bucks down to 3 turns. And his passive, when he's attacked, he decreases the attacker's max HP by 5%. Can it decrease their max HP by more than 50% once per enemy attack? Doesn't work against bosses. And it also can put True Fears out. I believe this is the other thing that's being changed. Yes. So now it will decrease bosses' max HP by 2.5%. This is kind of exciting. What's this? Oh yeah, his final thing is what makes him very nice for faction wars. Is that Skullsworn, he's a rare Lizardman. And basically every single turn he just revives it. So revive, and then the enemies go target the Skullsworn, they kill the Skullsworn because it's low health, and then he revives it. Makes faction wars quite easy. I think that, again, if we imagine hypothetically that they are going to add in a head for Hydra that requires decreasing max HP, this guy's going to be very good at it. You know, whenever he's attacked, he's going to decrease that max HP. Then he's going to bring AoE decrease attack, which will help you against, like, the Head of Wrath. This is kind of useless, and this is somewhat useless. So, I don't know. He's probably not amazing, but I think he could be pretty solid, right? He could be a solid, very tanky option for when you do have a high damage rotation like we have right now. For a lot of players, he could easily fit into one of your teams. as a good, decrease attack and decrease max HP champion. I think it's worth considering, especially as well. Something that's also not used in Hydra right now is heal reduction. I wouldn't be surprised if they add in some heal reduction being needed at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if that came in. Then the final champion who's being buffed up is in the Undead Hordes, and it's Blood Gorged, who's a Force Affinity attack-based champion. He has an A1, which attacks 2 times and can put decreased defense. His A2 is an AoE attack that puts 1 skill on cooldown at random. And then his A3, when booked, is a 4-turn cooldown that attacks 1 enemy, ignores defense entirely, and blocks revive, which is actually a pretty cool ability. So he's pretty cool overall. His speed is being increased a lot from 90 to 98. This is a pretty big deal. 90 speed is obviously very slow. 98 is not, it's not blisteringly fast by any means, but it makes him a lot easier to use. It makes him a lot more viable. And yeah, I mean, the idea is I think he could really thrive in the arena, basically, is where you'd be looking to use him with a single target block revive or an AoE putting stuff on cooldown, and he'd be fast enough to actually get this off with some speed boosting and stuff. So I think he could be kind of okay. So yeah, there you go. They are the 3 changes. That's all there is. Now, they've obviously talked about, I think they talked about here in 2022, a couple of the things they said they were going to focus on was, number 1, PvP is going to be a pretty big focus. I don't think these things tie into PvP. Obviously, Rotos or Skullord, like Rotos already fantastic, and Skullord still won't be good. Bloodgorge definitely is for PvP. So focus on PvP. And also, I think they talked about doing a lot more rebalances, which would be good. I think these small little rebalances are nice. And in fact, if we had one of these every month or 2 months, just touching up a few of these champions here or there, that'd be great. Rotos is already like a top tier. You'd love to get a Rotos. I don't have him. I'd love him. This makes him probably good again. These are right now good for Scarab, but possibly MVPs for another Hydra head. Rotos would be better, but Skullord would be okay. Yeah, there you go. That's sort of what I think about it. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.